So, you're in need of some quick cash, but you've run out of options to make money legally. No one's hiring, the pay sucks, or whatever other stories you tell yourself. So, it looks like we're going to have to explore more illicit means of making money. Let's look at our options. You could be a drug dealer, but drug dealers are usually viewed as dirty scumbags, and we don't want to associate ourselves with them. You could commit a myriad of online fraud. But although that's probably the easiest crime to commit these days, it's not sexy or exciting. It doesn't get your adrenaline pumping. What if we robbed a bank? Think about it. You need money, and banks have a lot of money. Compared to other criminals throughout history, bank robbers have always been seen as the quintessential Robin Hood, stealing from those really rich bankers. Thanks to decades upon decades of Hollywood romanticizing bank robbers, every single person has at least thought about robbing a bank before. Besides, today, the federal government guarantees the average person's deposits, so no one's going to get hurt. It's a victimless crime. Since the general public isn't directly getting hurt, they're much less likely to retaliate and demand justice compared to something like murderous drug dealers or online scammers. So, obviously, becoming a career bank robber is the only logical route. But just like any other crime, the smallest mistake and you are screwed, with a very hefty fine and prison time of up to 20 to 25 years, depending on if you assaulted anyone. And being that a little over half of all bank robbers are eventually caught, this new profession of yours shouldn't be taken lightly. On top of that, the average take for bank robberies in 2012 was only around $10,000, and you'll see that we have a lot of work to do. So let's learn how to rob a bank, theoretically, of course. Bank robbery is just like any other business or investment. The more risk you take on, typically but not always, the more money you're going to make. That means there are a few different ways you can approach robbing said bank. You can go in guns blazing and force the manager to open up the vault. You can plan out an elaborate heist where you go in at night and break into the vault, and these methods will typically give you much more money. Or you can keep things cool and calm by simply walking in, passing the teller a demand note, telling them to give you their money, and boom, you're in and out without a hitch. Except you'll probably only get the money the teller has in the register, which isn't a lot. Let's get into the nitty-gritty details of your heist. Every great heist starts with a great crew, right? Well, not so fast. Partnering up with other people does have its pros, but it also comes with some major cons. The biggest pros are that you can rob bigger banks, a vault cracker, etc. You can do much more elaborate heists. The biggest downside is that legitimate partnerships and legal businesses are already risky enough. Ask any successful entrepreneur, and they'll probably have a nightmare of a story to tell you about a business partnership that went bad. But partnerships in the criminal underworld, where you don't have the option of suing someone or calling the police on them, can get pretty dicey. Every person you bring on is not just another loose end, but you have to worry about their friends and family finding out. On top of that, you have to manage their egos, their pride, their greed. The point I'm trying to get at is that if you're gonna bring on other people onto your new career path, you better try $18.9 million. Maybe your job will require a man on the inside, like it did for Lum. Being that there are practically an infinite amount of ways to approach this that changes from bank to bank. If you're going to go this route, you probably know what you're doing. But before you leave, maybe do something like the United California bank robbery, where they made off with $9 million or $55 million in today's money. They cut a hole in the roof, then cut a hole on the top of the vault. And even though they were successful, before they left, they jammed the vault door. This way, when it was time to open for business, the manager couldn't open the vault and thought it was probably something with the locking mechanism itself. So, they called in a technician, and after hours of trying to open it, he finally discovered the hole at the top, buying our thieves just a few more hours to cover their tracks even more. Pretty clever move. If you're going to go in during business hours, whether as a lone wolf or as a crew, guns blazing, the number one thing you need to do is instill fear into your subjects. Terrorize them, shock and awe. Discourage anyone from being a hero. Get them to realize that they have their entire lives ahead of them. Why would they put up a fight against these vicious robbers just for a few $1,000s of the bank's money? The depositors will get their money back from the government. Find clever ways to conceal your identity. Wear extra layers of clothes that you can remove after the heist. Creativity is the name of the game here. Once you're in and out, boom, you just made some instant easy money. But we're not done yet. Escape in that getaway car and let's move on to the last step. So, we have all this heist money that you just scored. Good job. But before you use that money, you have to make sure it looks legitimate, that you made it through legal means, whether that be through a job or business investments. Once you've laundered your score, you're good to go. Just make sure that if it's a really big score, or any score for that matter, it probably wouldn't be very wise to make any big purchases right away.